Welcome. Welcome everyone. Everyone from Bangladesh, from across the world these days, because I probably will have no idea who's watching and from which country. So, having said that, I just want to start by saying that this is the beginning from Bold, a new series of webinars with distinguished personalities on the broad theme of university industry collaborations. And as you can see, today's topic, of course, is business school education in Bangladesh, and especially the context of adapting to new normal amid COVID-19. Bangladesh is going through the second wave. Situation is not at all encouraging, but at the same time, life goes on, and we want to not neglect the university education in general and the, shall I say, business school education in particular, because that's where I spent a good 10 years or so of my early career. Now, you might be wondering what is BOLD, those of you who don't know. Very quickly, BOLD stands for Bangladesh Organization for Learning and Development. We are a passionate bunch who are into training, facilitation, coaching, even consulting. So we thought we need a platform in Bangladesh because we did not find any platform. So I, along with 11 other, shall I say, very capable, competent, and well-known personalities brought together, and we created Bangladesh Organization for Learning and Development. And I can go on and on, but you should actually visit our website later. I will share it with you. But I also mentioned about Excellence Bangladesh here, which is a youth leader, youth-led organization doing excellent work for the youth, especially as far as I know, 75 different universities have students who are linked with the Excellence Bangladesh as brand ambassadors. And what Excellence Bangladesh does is invites them into many programs and grooms them and then places them eventually in different organizations. And Future Leaders is my other organization that I run. I do consulting, training, coaching through this organization. So how are we going to do this session today? And how am I going to present our guest speaker to you and how things will happen? So I need to quickly share before it strikes 5 minutes, because that's the time I want to take before I bring in the guest. So we have divided the part into two parts. One is the host, myself, will interact with the guest speaker, of course, Professor Dr. Abdul Hannan Chaudhry, who is the Dean. I will properly introduce him a bit later, the Dean of the School of Business and Economics at North-South University. Who doesn't know in Bangladesh what is North-South and what is business school and the economics school as well, which is now together. And then after this, the audience, we would have a chance for the audience to also ask questions and try to show their comments. There's the second part, last 15 minutes or sometimes 10 minutes, but let's see how it goes from the audience. And that's about it. Today's is very straightforward. It's not a huge variety of things, but something is very important, which is employers. I work with many companies. Recently, I did MTO recruitment, management trainee officers, and graduates came from so many different universities, from home and abroad, and yet we could see. I don't want to go into the details, but the employers are partly concerned that those who graduated this year or will be graduating and those who graduated last year, 2020, to what extent they were in a advantageous or disadvantageous position, you see. So we will discuss all this. So that's why business school education is challenges and the opportunities we will discuss in detail. At the end, I will also talk about bold membership, because people, those of you who are listening, you have the opportunity to become a member and have personal and professional growth that way. It would be a remiss if I don't mention three people's name from three different countries who are perhaps watching and they showed interest. One is from University Uttara Malaysia, Manvardhar Kaur. Thank you very much, Professor, from the Executive Education Division. And then Yogesh Kumar, who is, of course, the proud president of International Federation of International Trainers and Speakers. Also, we have a Bangladeshi professor in UK. He teaches for many years now. Did his PhD and everything. So I'm just quickly I'm sharing his name just for a second. Okay, it's I'm talking about Nehal Mahatab, who is one of the three patron members of Bold. You see, so I took more time than I should have. So it's about time that I invited my guest into the studio. Welcome, Professor Hannan, Professor Dr. Abdul Hannan Chaudhry, the Dean, School of Business and Economics, North-South University.
Good evening, Kazi. Thank you very much for inviting me in this webinar organized by Bold. And also I know you from long since that you have been also with North-South University, and you have also led future leaders long since in Bangladesh, doing great job. Thank you very much for inviting.
Such a pleasure, sir. Such a pleasure. Now, I wouldn't be able to do justice, but I want to say a few words, and later I will also insert a few other areas of contribution of Professor Chaudhry in teaching, research, and public service. I mean, frankly, very few people have done that in the business school arena, and that's why you are in a unique position to share your experience, your thoughts, and how the future holds. So let me quickly say that Dr. Chaudhry has 32 years of teaching and research experience with various reputed institutions in Bangladesh, Canada, USA, and China. So you can see he taught in 4 different countries. He served as a faculty member at the University of Windsor, Canada, Northeastern University, Boston, USA, University of Calgary, Canada again, and also in his early career at Islamic University, Bangladesh. Of course, he was a teacher at North-South University, but Professor Abdul Hannan Chaudhry is the current Dean of the School of Business and Economics at North-South University. He might later also share, but interestingly, he served as the Vice Chancellor of Prime Asia University and also Pro-Vice Chancellor of Eastern University. I can go on and on, but I should also add that his public service in social business is well known, even in multiple countries, and I will give specific references later. So after saying this much, I want to start with the very first question, and that is, Dr. Hannan, could you share about your personal life? Because webinars like this always go to straight to the topic, but I want to make an exception. How did you grow up? Maybe in 1 or 2 minutes, and about your family, whatever that you want to share with us. Something interesting.
Well, thank you, Kazi. Yeah, I have started my life journey from very humble beginning. I grew up with a very reputed family of education background. but my unit of my family, I lost my father at the age of 3. So you can imagine that being a single son and also having 6 sisters, my mother raised all my sister and myself, I would say that, well, equally and educated, and all of them are doing great. I'm very blessed by my mother's guidance, and also being part of a family who has a history of fourth generation of education, I would say, because my in my family the PhDs started from 1943s and 1968, and then also, so my uncle got PhD in 1967, 68, and his uncle also, they got doctorate in 1940s, and then I myself as a nephew got degree in 1990s, and my nephews got PhDs in also from North America. So we are fourth generation actually. We have got education, and we are always inclined and involved in education. So I'm very blessed actually. Thank you for asking that
Absolutely,
question.
absolutely. No, I
So
mean, there are first generation as well. Dr. Musa, for example, when I was teaching at NSU, I had received him at the airport. He had arrived and took over the business department. By the way, for the audience, I'm saying I have a statistic. I'm the first male lecturer, full-time lecturer hired by NSU. Before that,
wow.
as far as I know, all were foreign faculty or Bangladeshi foreign faculty or even part-time from Dhaka University and elsewhere. But full-time lecturer were few and far between. So I have that interesting statistic part of NSU's history. And Duria Mir was the other person who was also recruited at the same time. And few others came a little bit, maybe a week or a month later, and so on. Anyway, I shouldn't say much. I want to quickly move on to NSU. Private universities in Bangladesh have thrived, and some, well, admittedly, are struggling. And there is this ranking thing, global ranking, regional ranking, or Bangladesh ranking. I'll be honest with you. Uh, Depending on whether it's about research, whether it's about teaching, whether it's about facilities, so it's different angles people look at. So, and I know about 2 3 universities which claim in one or the other angle they're the first, and there's nothing wrong in it. But I'm asking you, Dr. Hannan, in what way North South University is the number one university in which areas? Please do share with us.
Well, if I want to be very specific about North South University, how they have claimed actually that they are the best and the number one private university in terms of QS Asia ranking, and it is clear actually we have been consistently getting the QS higher education ranking. NSU has been the best and number one. Now, if you talk about ranking, there are wide variety of agencies and institutions they do rank. If I may say that, then globally, actually, the Time Higher Education ranking is the authentic and most acclaimed accreditation that people in academia do count. But apart from that, QS ranking is also widely used in the Australia, UK, and European schools are also been using that things. All right. Now, if you go and ask me in regards to what the criteria they have actually sorted out about North South or about
Sure.
Bangladesh universities, mostly actually in terms of the research output that we produce in a given year, published in the top journals, and also your faculty pools are well trained and well educated from preferably from highly acclaimed schools, and also your societal or community contribution in regards to your graduates, those who have been able to place themselves in the top echelon of the managers and industries and top corporations run by your own graduates. So it is wide variety, your faculty and student ratio, and how did you actually impact in the society. Those things have been actually counted. So there are plenty of other things. Even you can see the THE time higher education ranking, yet not been Bangladeshi university are not counted because of the number of publications that are required for THE is not, no Bangladeshi institutions are yet there to even claim that THE ranking is ranked any Bangladeshi institution that way. But obviously, in any ranking, you are going, if you go region wise or country wise or program wise, you will see a list of the universities where you can see some of the Bangladeshi universities like Dhaka University, Buet, North South University, and quite a few other private universities are also there. So it's a relative things actually. But there are perception based ranking is also existing in many way. There are rankings that is actually assessed by your information, how you actually display those things in your own institutional website, which is webometrics and other criteria. So remember, it
Right,
depends
right.
on which, yeah, depends on what ranking you are talking about. There are newspapers, they do also rank on the basis of their own judgment and own assessment. Say Dhaka Tribune, say other newspapers or news agencies, they do it. So across the world, there are plenty of ways of judging those things. But certainly, I would say that, well, some global rankings are well accepted by the academic institutions in across the world. Mostly, I would say the professionals, academicians, they do understand it far better than a general people who can read a newspaper article and simply cannot differentiate that which one is good or which one is bad. Being North South University, I would say that, well, we are by far the highest number of publication produced by the UGC, statistics. You can see that things, we are number one in that sense, and
Fantastic.
our publications have been appeared even the top journals. So it's basically a multi-dimensional things that are
Thank
counted
you.
by the reviewers.
Beautiful. No, no. You said one thing that is very important that all students, teachers, and others should know, that no university in Bangladesh could make it to the Times Higher Education rankings. I mean, this even I was not aware of in that sense. Of course, so it shows maybe in the global arena we'll do in future, but not now. I mean, let's accept the reality.
I mean, in
What is
order to
this?
get the acceptability to apply the eligibility for the Times Higher Education, you have to produce as an institution more than 1,000 publications per year. So yeah, that's a big number, and these publications have to be appeared in the top tier journals.
See, uh, did you say 1,000?
Yes,
1,000 and in
per
top
year.
tier journals per
Yeah,
year.
yeah,
See,
it's a big thing actually to achieve. Now, people do
academic.
claim that they are in the list of the time higher education on the basis of HDG goals and other. So these are side issues that no
Correct.
academician should heavily emphasize on those things. But in Bangladesh, obviously, for the purpose of competitions and also to
Sure.
take the place on the marketplace, institution versus institutions, they do it. We do not say that is wrong, but we
Of
have
course
to
not.
also understand that we should not mislead our general people, those who are sending their case to the top institutions. All right.
Bold has that responsibility to ensure that they raise the standard of learning and development. And our parents are a big stakeholder, so there are students, we have, and then there's employers. So, as you said correctly, if the information of the university is in the best way presented, and they can become, and they have become the top player there. Beautiful. Or many other ways. It's like in our training and consulting field too. Somebody says, I am the number one leadership guy in Asia, or someone in Europe, or someone say, I'm the best trainer in Bonani. I'm just joking. So niche market and different approaches. But you have clarified it wonderfully, and we have not demeaned anyone. We just want there are different ways this is done. I don't want to spend too much time here. Maybe another whole episode we want to devote to this ranking, even whether ranking really means something. But today I'm not going to talk about that because there are a lot of
In a different day, I will
other.
also explain that there are great institutions in across the world. They do not
Hmm.
even at all bother about those, and they are producing truly highly recognized graduates, those who have created or impacted the whole globe in many sense. So I'm going to talk about those things in a different day if I get the chance. But today we are going to
Yes.
focus on your subject matter, no problem.
Correct, correct. And that's what now I'm going to go on and probably, next 20, 25 minutes, we want to deal with this. Um, it's a different world now. I've been reading top, magazines or journals, and it's very clear, for example, that the business school education or education for that matter has changed. Even if we come back to pre-pandemic circumstances, it's going to be better, not worse. People say because now we know how to combine the both. So I want to ask you uh, first on the challenge side. How did a university like North South is currently? I'm not talking about the past, but again in the second wave, you want to make sure the education has to be right. Why I'm saying you, I'm telling you in 30 seconds.
All right.
Employers,
Yeah.
let me just quickly say, employers are a bit worried that are the graduates of the same quality they were when they had face-to-face interaction? Are they spending the time right way? So how do you think the quality of graduates were affected, or what are the challenges, and on the sideline also what opportunity that came up? Yeah.
Well, Kaji, first of all, we all have to agree that we are not in the same time that we have been doing actually during normal period of time. As most of us we know that well, COVID-19 pandemic surpasses the Great Depression of 1930s, and world has experienced actually most difficult time since Second World War. So you see that well, the economic decay and public health crisis, the world transportation problem, and informal working class, migrant working class, and the psychosocial and mental health issues of the students, those who are pursuing degrees or actually under academic higher learning institutions or even in a school. Everything has actually disrupted heavily by COVID-19 pandemic. So we have to agree that well, this is a new normal, that we are not certainly going to go back after pandemic the way we used to do or we used to run. Now you ask me that what we do at North South University. It is not actually North South. Virtually all the academic institutions across the world, especially the higher learning institutions, they have been able to devise at least their service delivery, education service delivery via online, distance, and offshore teaching. There is no other way actually one can run education and institutions in any other means, and that's what we have been also doing. The North South is also doing the same thing, knowing that the challenges in the higher educational institutions in country like Bangladesh. So the first very thing that well, we have been focusing on how do we actually cater our students and how do we actually bring back our students in the campus. Will we be able to bring our students in the campus or connect them? And that that is the thing that we have been able to do through distance education, through offshore education. So we have been doing it very successfully. At NSU, you know that well, all our students, 25,000 students approximately, are taking classes perfectly all right, on routine, on schedule, through technology. And these students are heavily engaged with their faculty members during their class time. Faculty members have been able to also deliver the class lectures and materials that they are supposed to do in a regular mode. Now you ask that whether the graduates during this period are going to be the same. Oh, well, not necessarily. The learning, or the teaching dissemination the way we do or anyone does these things, actually, it is not the same thing. So you should not expect the graduates are going to be same quality or same thing that you expect. If I may even quote, like, the Harvard Business School dean, Srikant Datar, who has
Mhm.
taken even his position during this pandemic, he also agreed on one thing from the business school point of view, that the teaching at the business school is going to be changed, different, even post pandemic. And we all have to take these new challenges, new way of deliberations, and there are obviously advantages and disadvantages while you are teaching via online. You should not expect that everything is going to happen the way you have been also teaching in the classroom, face to face learning mode. There are certainly some advantages while you are actually using online. You may be able to attract speakers from across the world, which is very possible through the use of the technology part. But there are certainly some disadvantages that country like Bangladesh, even where you cannot ensure the internet facilities to all these students across the country in a remote village. There are certainly problems of bandwidth issues while the classes is going on. Students are all of a sudden dropped off from the classes. There are certainly issues of digital divide, that students will have a certain device which is going to be very flexible and can take the advantage of online and distance classroom education from a remote facilities. But we have to understand that, well, we have no other choices other than running the classes the way, obviously we are giving classroom records. Records are there. Student, those who misses classes or drop off from the bandwidth, they can certainly see the video of the lectures and also hear the audio of the lecture so that they can review, they can go over. These are the advantages and disadvantages, that flexibility is also there, but it is not something that when we go in a regular mode with a chalk and talk method, it's not going to be the same regular teaching that you should expect. So there are clearly advantages and disadvantages, especially judging the student, and how you evaluate a student whether they have been able to learn the subject matter that you have delivered. That evaluation part is a challenging part for faculty members to evaluate the student, whether they are
Absolutely.
actually judging students on a fair mode and
Mhm.
giving opportunity to the student to even demonstrate their understanding. So there are variations. So these variations are going to exist. Obviously, we have to agree on that things. But clearly, I see after post-pandemic, there will be a hybrid type of teaching, and that should be a new normal after post-pandemic.
Thank you. Thank you so much for your detailed explanation. Especially, I liked about your, not only the challenges are real, so there is no denying that. But you said, but because of that, we now can immediately go global, provided, of
Yes.
course, with the students, we have the access, the bandwidth. That's the policymakers should look into in a big way. Fortunately, in Bangladesh, except if I'm in my village, is challenging. But if you're in a, even in a, what we say in Bangla, Mofosshol, in the suburbs and other places, I don't see any challenges. I mean, that has been the case. I've seen many people are watching from different parts of Bangladesh. Someone from Tangail, someone from Khulna, someone, of course, all parts of the world. And one of your admirers, many of the students I see here, Nisha Anwar, can't help. Probably my student, but also probably you know her very well. She is the head of Citibank. So a lot of interesting people. Many people are so happy to see. Somehow you're an academic, and I'm now in the industry. So I'm the industry, and you're the academics. That conversation is going on right now. Now, I want to quickly move on, maybe to a different topic, and that is whenever I read the other business schools' policies, let's say in the US, they're saying uh, all the students needs to be vaccinated before they can come to the classroom. And Harvard Business School has 50% the size. Sorry, maybe Pennsylvania, probably another business school. They used to take 80, no, Side Business School I'm talking about, Oxford University. I was lucky back in 2006. I was an Ashoka affiliate. I got an invitation to speak at Side Business School at the Orange program. They had a kind of not this real gurus program, but I did a competition and then I also took a session. Anyway, so Side Business School is talking about 40 people. And the reaction among students at first was like a bit unusual, but they say now we get more attention. You know how it is in the US or other schools, unless large numbers of students are there, they cannot make money or they cannot pay the bills. So this is the good and the bad side happening. So what is your business school planning or the university for that matter when we'll come back at one point, but will it be the same? And will it run the risk of third wave or fourth wave? How you look at it? How does the university policy talk about
All
it?
right. I think before university policy, we have to look into the nation's policy first. Obviously, there is no alternative, Kazi, in about the vaccination. We have to go and get the vaccination for all the people and most of the people. That is for obvious, because even in especially in the US, they are inviting students to go to the campus now during this fall because they have been able to cover most of the young people even to be vaccinated. So you see that advanced countries, they have taken the advantage because they were advanced in all sort of technology and financially they are very good, and they have been able to implement the vaccination part heavily, which in the opposite side country like Bangladesh, we could not yet manage that many vaccines for our people or population as a whole. Country has to make sure, even in another session I talked about this thing, that well, especially if we would like to see the university students, this is a possibility for government and private universities because the numbers are limited. Government university has 250,000 students around, and private university has 450,000. So it's going to be not more than 1 million doses of vaccination that we need for university students in both the public and private university. But if you go even in the biggest scenario, the students, those who are studying in the national university system or even the colleges and in a school system, a big chunk of students require their vaccination. Now, without vaccination, if we bring students in the campus, even campus like us, which is very compact, a city-based university, we are going to be clearly in a vulnerable situation when we are going to welcome students in campus. That is for sure. I think there are serious health issues and health risk are there. We have to get the vaccination. We have been collecting the data. What proportion of our students have got the vaccination, who are yet not been able to get that things. Even for our faculty members above 40 ages, we got the data. Below 40, all the faculty members are actually asking for vaccination. So we have to give those information to the Ministry of Education and Health, department, and also UGC. UGC has already asked us to give us the data and the information, which we have been able to collect, and we place already data in different form to the UGC. I'm sure that if government has a priority to provide vaccines to the students of our country, they can segregate students from higher learning institutions, say our engineering students, medical students, private university students, public university students. It's not going to be more than 1 million. And these 1 million doses are going to make safe environment for at least 200 academic institutions in our country. I'm not considering at this moment the national university or colleges. We have to do that things in the secondary phases. So if they do take that policy, we have to, otherwise it is always going to be risk, as you have pointed out, that there might be a third wave of COVID spread in the country unless we ensure that things. Advanced countries already welcoming student during this fall, and from most Canadian universities are welcoming foreign students. US universities are also welcoming from fall. So that means they are ready. They are even ready to provide vaccines to foreign students, those who are going to come inside their country. Apart from Australia, yet not declared, but we see that, well, global, global recognized high end countries, those who are rich countries, they are welcoming even students to go to their campuses. For Bangladesh, it is going to be challenge. I would say a big challenge for government also.
Absolutely, absolutely, Doctor. Nicely pointed out. And speaking of your references about even developed countries are thinking about vaccinating the foreign students. Well, your nephew, my son, Amer, studies at University of Alberta at the electrical
Yes.
engineering department. Now he's in Dhaka, but in August he's going back, and he probably will not be able to get vaccinated here. So he is going to be quarantined first and then get vaccinated. So as
Actually,
parents,
same situation for my daughter also, who goes to an
oh,
Ivy League school. And at this moment,
okay,
I have nine nephew and nieces are studying in US and Canada. My nephew and nieces, nine of them
nine
are
of
there.
them.
Nine of
Amazing.
them. So, and
If I,
even yeah, so I know that, well, these students are going and entering into the country or staying in the country. Those who have been there, they already got. Those who are in country, they have to go. So my daughter has to go and get the schedule before she goes to the campus for face-to-face classroom. Otherwise, she will not be able to sit in the classroom. So you see that, if I would like to say, during this pandemic, apart from economy part, the hardest hit is in the education sector across the world. It is
yes,
at the very beginning, when pandemic started in December 2019, there was 1.6 billion people, students have been affected by the pandemic, because they could not go to the schools and universities were shut down immediately. So you see that that number went down. It is 1.38 now, 1.38 billion. It's a big number, yet
it
that
is.
these students did not get the vaccination, or so you see that advanced countries are making sure those things before sending their students and young children to the classroom, that they have to be vaccinated, and there is no alternative of actually addressing the COVID issues until and unless we make sure that most of the population, most of the people in the country are going to be vaccinated. So the way, even today, while we are talking about the highest number of deaths happen in Bangladesh today, 201 declared by
Yes.
government, is the highest number. So you see that uh, we got hard hit during this second lockdown and second wave of the COVID. We really need to ensure, or even acknowledge, that this is a great problem, and education sector, apart from the business and industry, got the highest hit, and it is going to clearly affect the quality of the student graduates, quality of the education service, and quality of the graduates, those who are going to be employable in the marketplace. So that's why you ask me that whether the quality is going to be the
Mm.
same. Not necessarily. There is going to be clearly a variation, and that variation has to be adjusted. And maybe at some point we are going to overcome that things. I am very hopeful. Bangladesh has done, I would say,
Mhm.
great thing in terms of the digital front, that they could
Mhm.
actually run many things from there, but the country has to also address the student issue heavily. UGC, Ministry of Education, the government bodies and academic institutions need to address the issue of the student, so that our nations do not ignore the young generation, the young students, those who are truly, education seeker or knowledge seeker, I would say.
Absolutely, absolutely. No, no. As you were just pointing out, um, and we are always going back. It's not the same, but then there are the positives too. I want to take a comment from some students. Let's see, or some audience. Let's see what Abu Humaira says. Even if discuss a notable number of students with unimaginable creativity with inconceivable problem solving during this new normal situation, though virtual education through virtual education services, I would agree with her because
I do agree also. I do agree. There is certainly, there are some example, I would say, even in the context of North South University, we have done great, entrepreneurial things, also innovative things during this pandemic also. So there are clearly good sign of the young bodies and young students. They take this time as a challenging time, but they have been able to also overcome by demonstrating that no pandemic or difficult time is going to put us behind. We are going to overcome, and they have been able to do that things. They have clearly shown that, well, enormous business growth by the new startups in the e-platforms that has been a possibility, quite visible in our country, that young people have been able to devise those things. If I say startups or e-commerce or
yes,
even business with using the technology, they have done great job, I would say, and also addressing social issues, resolving social problems, and also even in particular the COVID issues, they have tackled down. Bangladeshi students have been able to tackle it in many sense. They have been able to do
now
great job.
Now, you said so correctly. One of your students, I'm sure you'll immediately recognize. Sorry, we are not
Oh
seeing because
yes,
she wrote a big thing. Razia Rahman, I think Brishti. Kazi sir,
yes.
Hannan sir, so good to see you in the one frame. Let me read her from her
Oh,
written
she has
stuff.
been doing actually great job.
Yeah,
She's
yeah,
actually she would be recognized by this country the way she has been actually doing community services and also some
absolutely.
acute issues of women related, and also the bottom pyramid of the society. So I think
Yes.
these are the students that we have been actually producing. We have been able to produce that. They are socially concerned. They are giving huge services to the community, and eventually I think these students, these young bodies, young minds, they are going to be recognized by the country and community, and we are going to also be very proud of all those contributions. I can name many of my students. They are doing great job during this pandemic, addressing
Absolutely.
all social issues and helping
Absolutely.
the vulnerable community. These are great, I
Indeed.
would say.
Indeed, indeed. I think another very, the audience is very responsive. I can only take few questions, but about mental health, let's read this wonderful comment. Dr. Hannan, if you kindly highlight on mental health issue, that might be helpful. For example, how students address mental health issue while they are limited in scope of meeting their friends and faculty, confined to a room, and
I mean, I was at the very beginning, I was trying to say that, well, during this pandemic, there is not only one, two children across North South, across the institutions, within the country, even cross country, global situation, the information that we have as being the academician, the informations are devastating in terms of the mental stress and the in terms of the connectivity of the students with their peer group, peer friend, and also relatives. These students are heavily stressed, and in the institution like North South, we have been counseling many of our students during pandemic via online, giving them mental support, because these students are stressed. Many situation that we are facing, not only at North South University, also hearing from other academic institutions, that mental agony, stress, and also they could not see their friends and relatives for long period of time, could not see their teacher, those who are their mentor. So they are always in virtual mode, they are in distance mode, and that has put the psyche of the young generation and totally in a stress mode. And that's why I would request all the academic institutions to run every now and then the counseling session. And North South has done great job in terms of some educational psychologists and counseling sections are doing great job in terms of providing services and addressing their issues. There are suicidal case or things have been able to appear in the limelight. We address those things in a very good way. There are mental pressure, and even due to connectivity issues, students are always raising questions about their queries about grades. They are mentally depressed about exams, and they are not getting the services the way they want. So these are something that, well, great issues, I would say, that, well, raised by these students, and we have been addressing from the institutional point of view. And every week and every now and then, we are always talking, being an academic administrator, talking to our counselor, that what kind of feedback that we are getting. There are some serious issues, there are moderate issues, there are mental issues. Kazi, if I would like to also mention,
Please,
financial
please.
crisis has financial crisis of the young students across the country has become a serious issues in our country, because many students in our country are working during the daytime and studying in the evening. They are working as a part-timer. They were actually tutoring
Right.
other students. They could not do that things. I mean, even in the government university system, most of the
Uh-huh.
students, those who come in Dhaka city, they are apart from the city. They lost their job, part-time job. They lost their tuition. They are in remote villages. They do not have source of earning. Their family cannot furnish them, even their tuitions and other expenses, and they are in deep crisis. At North South University, you know that, well, we have been giving enormous support to the COVID victim students. Many students, those who have lost their parents and guardians, we have been giving them financial assistance and make their tuition free, and also giving support as on an average flat 20%, around 20% tuition waiver during this pandemic, which is a big chunk of money in the context of our country. But North South has been
Absolutely.
generously doing these things, and there were clear cases of death, parents or sisters or brothers. We have been giving them mental support and also financial assistance and assurance that you do not have to worry on this situation. And there are situations student could not sit in the exam during the exam date, or even in a assignment deadlines they are missing. They are mentally depressed just because they have COVID victim in their family. So we are addressing those issues. Being an academic administrator, as a dean, we always instruct our faculty members to be very sympathetic and passionate
Mhm.
about those causes. And this is a different time. This is not a normal time that we are talking about. So we are very sympathetic, and I would request all the faculty members to become more passionate about these COVID victims, COVID
Sure.
families, and I think we address it very well.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I know there probably will be, I'll take a couple of questions, but I want to go back or start an interesting conversation along the lines of what does a dean do? At NSU, you were at NSU before, you made such a big difference, but you had to go because you had to pursue your own dream. You went to China to teach. You went to other university as the top administrators, pro VC, VC. But it's so interesting, and all of us we were like, wow, Hannan Bhai is back, Hannan Sir is back. I cannot tell you. I have to be a little personal, as if I am back to NSU. When I saw you, you're back. I cannot express it. It's not my feeling. I don't know. You've
Kazi,
earned
actually, yeah.
it. You earned
If
it. I
I
have
if
to finish. Give me 30 more seconds. You made such a big difference. I know a story of Adam Grant of University of Pennsylvania, best teacher award, best books, a global thought leader. Okay, fine, thank you, Mr. Adam Grant. But to us, you are that person. in Bangladesh and beyond, because I don't remember when I was out of NSU doing simple work, not as good as now. You gave me the opportunity to be engaged with the career development. I have to say that I have to be grateful. But it's not about me. I have heard from hundreds, not dozens, because you want to engage, you want to be inclusive. So this time at NSU, I am sure you have come to make a big difference, my friend. I mean, I'm taking the liberty of calling you my senior friend. Friend, you're a professor. I mean, I'm doing great in my job, but tell me, how are you going to make a difference as a dean? We at
Oh,
NSU,
thank you,
we want to
Kazi.
hear from you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you have already introduced me that I have been actually teaching and 32 years. Actually, this is 33 years. In 1987, I became the government university teacher, and I
Okay.
have gone through my career almost 15 years. I was in the US, Canada, and came back to private university at North South. So I have government university experience, private university, both in country and also in overseas. I was a visiting professor also in China. As you said it very rightly, I would say, at
Mm-hmm.
North South, my involvement is with my heart actually, because this is a school I have been very passionately working in terms of building the business school itself. I was the
Mm-hmm.
dean even 11 years back. I was the dean.
True.
11 years back, I was the dean. So you see that, well, I was the director of the BBA program for longest period of time. At the business school history, I was the career director for 7 years. I was also the dean for around 3.5 years. And then I became vice chancellor, pro vice chancellor. I got the exposure of running an institution from the top. And
Mm.
now I came back to the North South University. The part of the reason that, well, I was able
Mm-hmm.
to take North South Business School from point zero to a point, up to a point. Now, I had many dreams that I
Mm.
could not achieve that time. NSU Business School is by far the largest business school in the country. Not even the country, but also in the region. This is a business
Mm.
school is having around 14,000 students. It has
Wow.
quite big number of faculty members, 200 full-time faculty members, hundreds of part-time faculty members. We have, apart from the departments, the 4 departments, we do have many wings of the business school: the director research, the director graduate school, director CVR, director CCEPT, director NSU startups next, director ERP. Many wings under the leadership of the business school dean. And I have part of the accreditation part, which I am dreaming of that we are going to achieve in couple of years, maybe in the next few years, the top most best accreditation, which we call the WSCSB accreditation. We are striving for that thing. So we
Okay.
want to
Yeah.
bring all sort of excellence at the business school. We want to see that NSU SB is going to be transformed as like a global
We are
business
we're
school.
yeah,
That's why we want to
we are
connect.
losing you a little
We
bit.
want to connect
Mm-hmm.
people, industry, business, corporations, local versus global, everything that we put together here. We are now doing a lot of different things in the business school in terms of addressing sustainable development goals. Yes.
Sure, sure.
Yeah,
Maybe the
and also
connection,
some
we got a little bit of a
community
connection
services.
problem. Okay.
Some community services. Actually, I have been also trying to do. At this moment, we have new projects that involve giving services to the small, medium enterprises. Even
Dr.
news.
Hannan,
We are getting also support from the NSU Business
internet?
School. So we want to
Could you
safeguard
check
much
your
research
internet?
with teaching.
You're breaking up, so I was just wondering.
I was actually speaking. You got disconnected. I was on and
Okay, I
explain
got.
those that were at NSSC, many that at this moment are doing. For example, we do uh, 2 weeks of women entrepreneurship program.
Probably the internet connection. Sorry for the audience. Let me take a couple of
Hear me?
minutes so that a little bit of
Actually, it
challenge
is.
there. We are experiencing a little bit of challenge. Yeah, he will be back, I'm sure. Thank you, my dear audience. I just wanted to tell you, those of you who are from the business schools here and outside Bangladesh, and those who are professionals and watching from LinkedIn. I've seen many of you are attending from LinkedIn. Frankly speaking, this is a series that Bold will be doing, and we will go to other universities in Bangladesh. Even we'll go beyond Bangladesh, and we'll invite industry speakers, CEOs, chairmen, directors. We might even invite parents. So over from time to time, every month, we will actually organize events. We will organize talks that are close to your heart, the topics that we will discuss. And from the next session, we'll also invite question beforehand for the speakers, and even more interactive than this one. We are thinking. After a long time, I'm back with these live sessions because I've been busy doing, you know, programs for the organizations, but it is Bold that is very close to my heart. I think the moment we will have internet at Dr. Hannan's place, he will be joining us. I'm 100% sure. Um, so I'm now going to talk about our Bold, the organization that has earned quite a bit of a name as it's as if it is a personal and professional development organization. But our one of our target groups, of course, is the trainers of Bangladesh. And you'll be happy to hear that by early August, we are launching Bangladesh Trainers Alliance. And one very up and coming, a cool consulting firm, training facilitation firm, Smarty Fire, which is being run by Sohan Haider. He is helping Bold. You give a very simple contract. It's not a lot of money, but he's volunteering partly and partly paid for. He's doing a fantastic design. So those of you who are into training and also internal trainers, L&D, those who are in the L&D, let me see, they will can be part of this. So this will be a great news. And the other great news is within a month or so, Bold Talks will be coming on to celebrate the 50th anniversary, the Golden Jubilee of Bangladesh's independence. And we will ask our audience, which 50 speakers do you want to hear in the next, who knows, 1 year actually, because in a year we have 52 weeks. If we do one session each week, that means it might take 50 weeks. So it will take about a year, if not completely a year. So all these are coming. So I would encourage you to join Bold because there are programs for Bold members only. There's coaching for them, and then one can do free training and discounted. And I'm glad to say, of course, Dr. Hannan is back.
Yeah, I'm back again.
Yeah, yeah, welcome. We were just
Yes,
sharing that
yes.
you'll
There
be
are
back.
some connectivity problems. All right.
Sure, no
The
issues.
point that I was trying to talk about, I forgot the issue that you raised.
Yes,
At
I want
NSU,
you to
as a dean,
NSU.
the new
Yeah,
as a
as I did.
new dean,
Yes,
actually,
yes.
the my utmost target at this moment to take this business school to the next level
Okay.
through achieving the highest acclaim in the business school, what we call the CSB accreditation, and this is a challenge for 5 to 6 years in a minimum time required, and we are striving for that things, and we have a goal to achieve that things, and in line with that, actually everything that you have to align, not only the business school but also the university institution wide, things has to be aligned in terms of ensuring quality education in the process, bringing good faculty members from across the world, and also heavily giving emphasis on high quality resources, and to some extent we have to increase the ratio of the PhD faculty members, reducing the ratio of the student versus faculty members ratio, staff
Mm-hmm.
members ratio, and
Okay.
also creating impact in the community. And that's why at NSUSB we do have many community engagement program right now. We are running at this moment the City Allo project for the women entrepreneurs, those who have capital less than 2 lakhs and less than that. We are giving them
Uh-huh.
training through City Allo, the Citibank funding projects. We have a World Bank funded project, what we call We Connect. Through We Connect, we are giving SMEs in the country, across the country, 700 SME women we are going to be training, in the upcoming 3 years. This is a World Bank funded project. We are going to ensure even a project without even financial benefit, a community service we are going to do for the bottom pyramid of the business people by training them, giving them a free software, whatever accounting software, and that's accounting software is going to be trained by our faculty members. This is how
I
we are
see.
reaching the community, and we have many other community reaching program. And also, as you
Beautiful.
say, as a new dean, Kazi, world has changed over the last 10 years and 15 years heavily. We are talking about heavy technology things right now in business and industries. So our goal is to bring all sort of technology front things in business school, what we call the fintech, and also the virtual trading lab, marketing laboratory, and forensic accounting. We have to relate those things in our academic curricula and also training, and heavy emphasis on connecting leaders like you and business leaders, top corporations leaders in the business school, academic and also training purposes. So you are doing great job, Kazi, outside the periphery of the school, that you are giving skills to the professionals and industry people, those who are getting that right kind of skills from you and your organization. The same very thing that we want to ensure, that we are going to connect those people in the business school line with appropriate skills and appropriate technology that are required in the upcoming days in the workplace.
Absolutely. Thank you. Thank you very much. Even before I ask you the question, you actually mentioned it. One of my last question was that universities do teaching, research, and public service, and there's a long list of public service you just mentioned, and also organizations like Bold, and there are many such organizations where we members can bring unique industry skills, and we can university and industry when they work together, that's when everybody benefits. The university benefits, society benefits. I mean, nobody's a loser. But I've seen in private or public universities in Bangladesh are not so industry centric, seriously. So, but your examples show that how industry centric you are going to be, and probably you're going to be more and more. That gives
Truly
us
speaking, Kaji, truly speaking, anyone from industry and businesses try to contact with me, I am going to jump into in it. We had a meeting with all the chambers of FBBCCI, and all those chambers, industries and chamber people. I welcome them. I said that, well, you are going to be highly visible in the NSUSB if you would like to connect yourself with NSUSB. The reason that after my joining in last October, I have got a project, from the Korean Ministry of Education, which is yet not materialized by, because it is hanging into the Education Ministry. It's a very big project for appropriate technology at the business school, the way you want to transform the future generation of the students with appropriate technology, so that students or graduates, they are going to be able to learn the appropriate technology that are required for the next generation of the businesses and industries. This is something that Korean
Mm, mm.
Ministry of Education would like to help us to build the
Fantastic.
businesses, but we are waiting for the permission of the Ministry of Education, and UGC has cleared it, but it is going to go to the chancellor of the university, which is the president of the country. So we
Of
are
course.
still
Of course.
struggling with convincing that, well, this appropriate technology project would add many value, high value in the NSUSB if we could implement that things. So these are something
Excellent.
clearly going to give us opportunity to connect industry and business people.
Absolutely. When you said that you are so industry centric, and your examples show that, it was so sweet in my ears that, okay, even bold, we have certain ideas. This is not the forum now. I'm not going to talk about it, but I will contact you. For example, I
Sure.
have seen one of our bold program that we are developing is especially MBA students, for MBA students who have not experience of working much. Coaches in top business schools, external coaches guide MBA students so that they have huge maturity before they graduate in terms of the world of work. And it doesn't have to be expensive, because we are developing in Bangladesh an ICF Bangladesh chapter. It has not been finalized, but there are 12 of us now. We need 20 of us, and we will actually approach universities like yours, North South University, where fantastic, cost-effective, and competitive programs can be generated, where industry-university collaboration will not be just theoretical. The real implementation is possible. I know we have exceeded time actually, but since we lost some of your time, one last question, and after that we will close. I know you had a very long day. You and I were talking before you joined. Meetings, of course, very serious meetings with the board yesterday, meetings with all kinds of important decisions for the university. I feel like telling you, asking you, uh, what do you have to say about the parent, to the parents, to the employers, to the other business schools even? I mean, what is your message? They say, what is your parting thought? Starting with the parents, I would like you to, and then the
All right.
employers.
I mean, parents, guardians, and also students together. I would
True,
request them
true.
not to be very focused about the certificate and degree matters, but
Mhm.
to ensure your child or yourself, to get the right kind of skills that are truly very important in the upcoming, employability sector. Because in the employment sector, industry floor has changed. That's a reality. Now, to the schools, business school, and even including NSU, I would say that, well, we have to think about that, well, beyond book materials, beyond textbook, many things that we have to incorporate in the classroom, so that students of today's generation of the students, they become, or they can transform themselves to be appropriately contributing to the workplace. Because you know what is happening, this is where is the gap. academicians always feeling that whatever is written in the textbook is something great, we ignoring the reality in the community or in the workplace. Industry people has a problem that they think that, well, whatever they do in the industry has to be teach, in the academic world. I think
Uh,
there has to have a breeze between industry and academia, so that we can blend it and share. And this is only possible if we
mhm,
see the practitioners and professionals come to the school, and academic people try to also learn from them. And industry people should also acknowledge that, well, there are advances of theories and subject matter that has come to a point that makes sense. So there is a gap between these two parts. Always, it is not in Bangladesh, it is in everywhere in the whole globe. But the most successful business schools have been able to connect it efficiently, and they were able to connect this group of people, professional body, industry people, to the academia, so that classroom environment is different. The skill that you provide, or some of the people in the community they provide, these are very important, which no business school, no classroom teachings are going to be able to do that things. So coach, as you mentioned, is also important. Now our part is to actually put our hands together, so that we can create an environment that we learn from both sides. I
yeah,
personally believe that, well, I have to share my own ideas and thoughts with the industry people, because he's the one who knows what is the next technology in the industry, or what is the way of doing things, what are the skills that are required. Industry people has to also understand there is an academic system, curricula, and
yes,
heavily regulated system in our country, which is
true.
stuck with the circle of UGC, accreditation bodies, and also university authorities, academic council. We have to actually make everything within the circle, so that everybody can share. And ultimately our goal is to see that the future generation of the student are going to be converted to the right direction, so that they can take this country to the next level. And that's how actually things have been changing.
Beautiful. Beautiful, beautiful. What you said augurs so well. One of our ex-NSUers says we should have a bachelor's degree in digital marketing. So you're saying, yes, industry needs that. But you see, it has to go through such a big process. So that's what I'm saying.
Kazi, I think Maruf Hassan, also an ex-NSU, has raised this question. Digital marketing and all technology, data analytics, blockchains, and fintech, all those things are very pertinent in the context of business school, even forensic accounting, all advanced things. Now the
Uh-huh.
point is that we being as an administrator, we see the
Uh-huh.
problem. For example, during pandemic, for digital marketing purpose, I have trained my faculty members. 26 faculty members have been trained by foreign consultant. So imagine that
Okay.
we are not behind. We are trying to do things in proper direction, and we spend money for that things. We spend
Mhm.
huge money for that things to be trained on digital marketing front. Now in our country, what is big problem that many people in the workplace do not actually know actually what is happening in the advanced countries. The terminologies are coming in Bangladesh very quick and fast, without even knowing what blockchain is actually doing in reality, what fintech is actually contributing in terms of devising a business model with financial technologies, and involving all sort of technology part in your business model. We are trying to actually synchronize those things, and it needs time. And therefore sharing your opinion, giving pressure
Mhm.
from industries, and also asking for digital marketing or supply chain management or
Mhm.
logistic, and reverse logistic, transportation, transshipment problem. And these are highly mathematical things that are incorporated in business schools. Business schools are not going to be anymore very descriptive materials, because we talk about analytics. When you talk about analytics and blockchains, these are actually logical deduction of segregating things in business models. How does blockchain is actually operating in business models, or in accounting system, or even segregating things in business, overall business model. So you see that, well,
Exactly.
but despite being all these troubles, difficulties, barriers, we are doing
Mhm.
great. Our students have been able to create enormous success in e-commerce
True.
platform.
Yes.
Pathao, Chaldal.com, Nogod, iFarmers, many e-platforms have been evolved from the business school. These are great
True.
students. They are challenge takers. They did not even look towards what their teachers have been teaching them, but they were focusing about the marketplace. They were focusing about the competitions. They were focusing about the global, understanding from global businesses. And these are the students that we are producing. They are going to make huge contribution in the upcoming years. But we, being as an academic institution, we have to acknowledge that we are way too far behind compared to global standard and global advancement of the business schools. We have to bring
Indeed.
those things. I am always aware
Absolutely.
about one thing, that my graduates, not only NSU graduates, any graduates from Bangladesh, no matter it's a government university or private university, employers are not happy at the very beginning, because these students are not getting the right ingredients in it and right things to do and show them. But obviously, after getting some
Mhm.
trainings and also learning process, these students are quite capable of handling those things. But
Absolutely.
that does not make sense that we are giving responsibility to the industries. We do have also responsibilities. So I am talking about that, well, let us try to share
Yes.
our thoughts with industries and businesses, and let we create a collaborative approaches to take the business school up. That's what I want
Absolutely.
to do.
Excellent. With these words, I have no, shall I say, words to express my gratefulness to you for being my first speaker of the first webinar series of Industry University collaboration. And I want to thank my audience, Excellence Bangladesh, and those who have asked questions, have stayed with us for so long. Even though we exceeded time, the audience is with us. So thank you so very much. So I might ask you to stay in the studio for 2-3 minutes, sir.
Sure.
While I'm going out of live now. So thank you very much, everyone. We will meet again soon, within a week or so, for the next session on this industry university collaboration. Thank you from Bold. Join Bold as a member. Take care. Bye bye.
Thank you.
I think yeah, we are going to be just a few more seconds. I think it takes a while.